So, you've heard about cryptocurrency. Maybe you've even bought some. But have you ever tried to actually use it for something small like buying a coffee? You might find yourself waiting around sometimes for minutes, sometimes even longer, just for the payment to go through. On top of that, you could be paying a transaction fee or gas that costs more than the coffee itself. It's not exactly the smooth, futuristic payment system we were all promised. This is one of the biggest bottlenecks holding crypto back from mainstream everyday use. It's a scalability problem. Imagine a single highway lane trying to handle all the traffic for an entire city during rush hour. That's kind of what it's like for major blockchains like Ethereum. Every single transaction, from a multi-million-dollar trade to you buying a digital cat, has to be processed and verified on the main chain. This creates massive congestion, slows everything down to a crawl, and drives up the cost of using the network. For crypto to really compete with giants like Visa or MasterCard, which handle thousands of transactions per second, it desperately needs a way to break out of this single-lane traffic jam. This is where the real innovation in the space is happening. Developers aren't just sitting around, they're actively building solutions to this exact problem. They're called Layer 2 scaling solutions. Think of them as building new express lanes and overpasses alongside that main highway. These solutions are designed to take a huge portion of the transactional load off the main blockchain, process it much faster and cheaper somewhere else, and then just report the final results back to the main chain. It's all about working smarter, not just harder, to achieve massive scale, and that brings us to Plasma. Alright, let's break down what Plasma actually is without getting lost in the super technical weeds. At its core, Plasma is a technique for creating smaller, faster blockchains that are linked to a main blockchain, like Ethereum. Think of the main Ethereum network as the Supreme Court. It's incredibly secure and has the final say, but it's also slow and expensive to bring every single case to it. Plasma lets you create smaller local courts, we call these child chains, that can handle thousands of disputes or transactions on their own. They operate independently and at high speed. These child chains are essentially copies of the main blockchain's rulebook, but they run in parallel. Users can move their crypto assets from the main chain onto one of these Plasma child chains. Once there, they can transact with each other almost instantly and with incredibly low fees. You could trade, play a game, buy digital goods hundreds of times without ever having to bother the slow, expensive main chain for each individual action. All of this activity happens on the side, in its own contained environment, freeing up the main highway for more important, larger-scale settlements. Now you might be thinking, is that secure? And that's the genius of Plasma. While these child chains handle the heavy lifting, they are still anchored to the security of the main Ethereum chain. Periodically, the child chain takes a snapshot of all the transactions that have happened and submits a single, compressed piece of data back to the main chain. It's like the local court sending a summary report to the Supreme Court. So we know Plasma can make transactions faster and cheaper, but what does that actually unlock? What are the real-world use cases? One of the biggest areas is decentralized finance, or DeFi. Imagine decentralized exchanges where you can trade thousands of different tokens. Right now, every trade on a fully on-chain exchange can be slow and cost a lot in gas fees. With Plasma, these exchanges can operate on a child chain, allowing for a trading experience that feels as fast and fluid as a top-tier stock trading app, but with the self-custody that crypto promises. Another huge application is gaming. Blockchain gaming has been a cool concept, but the reality has been clunky. If every single in-game action requires a slow and expensive on-chain transaction, the game becomes unplayable. Finding a sword, casting a spell, Plasma chains can essentially host the entire game's economy. Players can trade items, earn rewards, and interact with the game world in real time. The main chain is only used when a player wants to move a truly valuable item or their final earnings back to their main wallet. It also opens the door for micropayments and content streaming. Think about a service where you pay a writer or a musician a fraction of a cent for every second of content you consume. On the main Ethereum chain, the fees would make this completely impossible. But on a Plasma chain, these tiny high-frequency payments become trivial. This could revolutionize the creator economy, allowing for direct pay-as-you-go models that fairly compensate creators without relying on ads or subscriptions. It's a fundamental shift in how we can exchange value online. Beyond that, Plasma is perfect for any application that requires a high volume of transactions, but still needs the underlying security of a public blockchain. Supply chain tracking, where every step of a product's journey is recorded. IoT networks, smart devices constantly communicating with each other. By moving the bulk of the data processing to a dedicated child chain, these systems can operate at the scale modern business demands while still anchoring their final truth to an immutable and decentralized ledger like Ethereum.